Welcome to the BumbleKast. I'm your host, Ian Flynn, the Bumble King, and joining me as always is my Bumble co-host, Kyle, JCRB Krause.
Wednesday. It's time for a Wednesday. How you doing, Ian?
I'm excited, Kyle, because we get to answer all these questions that come from our patrons over at patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, and our YouTube members.
Well, I'm glad you're excited. So let's go ahead and get right into it. Let's go ahead and get right into it, starting with this one from Mike M. In Dark Beginnings, Maria calls the young gun commander Abe. Does that mean the Archie name for the commander, Abraham Tower, is now officially canon? If so, what convinced Sega to go with that name?
We answered this last episode.
Yep.
So head on back to Mondays and get your answer there.
Yep. Yeah. It's kind of weird. Funny how the timing is shaking out, but you know. Obviously, his name is Abe Lincoln. Come on. Mixer17 has a question. After binging Animaniacs, Surge orders Kit to act like Slappy for the day to entertain her. So he starts putting a lit stick of dynamite down her pants for sassing him. There's no questions for this. All the answers are obvious. I just wanted to see if I could get Kyle to read it for the funnies. If you want to run a full Kit goes Slappy the Squirrel mode scenario, go for it. If not, I hope it got a giggle. Have a good day. Of course it got a giggle. I'm here.
Also, just imagine Kit with that little hat is adorable.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best part. It's funny. Yes. And here's one from Olbask. You've been tasked by Sega and IDW to write a new Sonic side series with the premise, what if? For example, what if Mr. Tinker never returned as Eggman? The usual 4 issues, but with different stories. What tales would you like to alter? You can keep it within the IDW story if the whole series is too broad.
Oh, no.
Oh, we gotta go back.
I want this so bad. You have no idea. Some stories could be done in 1 issue. Some might need a little longer of an arc, but the possibilities are endless. You know, what if Tikal convinced Butchikamek to not invade the Chow Garden?
Yes.
What if Infinite had possessed the actual Phantom Ruby instead of a prototype? What if Shadow, something happened to that pod on the way down and there was nothing to find 50 years ago? He burned up in reentry. What if the Black Arms came back early? What if that comet only came by every 20 years? All of Shadow's routes. What if he was an android? What if he became king of the androids? What if he sided with the Black Arms and became their vanguard? What if Knuckles was the one to mentor Tails early on? What if Sonic never managed to stop Eggman from getting all the time stones? What if? It goes on and on and on. What if Mimic wasn't a jerk and actually stayed with the Diamond Cutters and they survived?
Yeah.
There are so many possibilities. That's why I love the what if premise. You can go nuts, you can go goofy, you can go serious, you can go harebrained, you can, what if Sonic didn't shave his arms and they were always blue? You can do anything with it.
No. What if Sonic threw Eggman in jail? What if Shadow ran instead of won? What if Sonic didn't say big oof? There you go. There's 3 of them there for you right there. You can have those for free. What if Starline was not crushed by rocks?
You end an entire multiverse right there.
It's true. All right, here's one from Princess Ellie. Is Sonic Game World canon? I know it's a Pico game, like Tails Music Maker, but this one at least sort of had a story, so I thought I should ask. And if it is canon, is Eggman's Game World Tower allowed to be used in the comics or other material? Also, fun fact, the game was the last game appearance of Breeze.
I don't believe so, no. Now, maybe an artist somewhere will sneak in a reference as an Easter egg. Or maybe Evan will go crazy and actually do reference it. I don't know. But it is not a part of the main canon, no.
So you're saying it was fired out of a canon then?
You can't prove it wasn't. At some point somewhere.
Yeah. But what if it was? What if?
Would it fly or would it just atomize in the cannon? Would the Force just destroy it?
That's a good question.
Quick, get the Mythbusters on the phone.
Are we talking about like the idea of the game, like the mental idea of the game, or the actual
idea in a can?
Or
we need a physical object,
or the actual physical game cartridge? Okay.
Yes. Can't load an idea into a can. Come on.
Yes, there are no ideas in canon. All right, here's one from Quazzle J. Who gave Shadow a CDL A-class license in IDW? Because in Metal Virus, he drove a truck and trailer.
You think he'd stick around and get a license?
He's the ultimate life form. He doesn't need a license.
Cowards have licenses. I drive.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I mean, yeah. You gonna tell him he needs a license to drive that? And we got one from Rabbit Haver. Blaze finally does what Sonic hasn't and kills Eggman in an act of horrific fiery violence. How does Sonic react? Can he still be friends with her despite the blood on her hands? What about the rest of the cast, particularly Silver?
I think Sonic would be aghast. That goes too far for him. He would eventually forgive and live and let live, but he would not be happy initially, I would think.
No, until he realizes how much better everything is without Eggman.
I agree. I think most of the cast would be kind of in that general range of, oh, Blaze, why? I mean, we love you, but come on. Except for like Knuckles, who'd be like, nice.
Yeah.
And Silver's like, that was an option? We could have done this all along?
Yeah, I was going to say.
I've been coming back how many times?
I was going to say, Silver came back to try and literally kill Sonic. He doesn't seem to have too much of a problem with murder.
I mean, Generations, he's like, I'm not sure if you're Sonic or not. Better try to kill you.
Yeah. Silver doesn't seem to have too much of a problem with it, which is very funny for, given his personality. But yeah. Omega's just mad that she stole his kill.
I call dibs.
All right, we got a question from Reckons. Ian, I've heard from quote-unquote sources that Shadow's 2005 game nearly had much harder dialogue. You've also said that Surge would be extremely vulgar if standards and practices allowed. So, in a hypothetical Sonic world full of X-rated dialogue, would Surge think Shadow and his over-the-top swearing were cool?
Now, hold on there. There's a big gulf between X and R-rated, buddy.
Yeah. I was going to say, yeah, there's a bit of a difference.
There's a whole NC-17 between those, and that's... I'm just saying the occasional four-letter word might be fun. I'm not saying we have to go, like, full description here.
The unrated edition.
Yeah. But no, I don't think she'd think he's any cooler. I just think she'd find him more tolerable.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. I get real, like, Mew from Danganronpa 3 vibes for Surge now, after having seen a lot of that game. It's like, yeah. There's a lot of similarities there. She's kind of she's very spicy. Anyway, Scurvy Pirate Hog has a question. I think it's safe to say that ever since their miniseries, Tangle has been a bit of an influence on Whisper. So, out of curiosity, how different would things have gone if instead of Tangle, Whisper had met up and teamed up with Lanolin instead?
Well, if we're talking about a similar timeline here, this is Lanolin at her absolute earliest when she was inspired by Sonic to go out and do more.
Yeah.
And here you have this very self-motivated, driven, and disciplined individual. Lanolin would latch onto her. She would take her cues from Whisper, and Whisper would not really appreciate this hanger-on. She doesn't need an apprentice. She doesn't want an apprentice. But, Lanolin's kind of tenacious. She actually turns out to be a decent field assistant. And, there'd be a kind of budding mutual work relationship there. And Lanolin might make a case for joining the Restoration, or Resistance, I guess, at that point still.
Mm-hmm.
Saying, it's better to work in large numbers. And Whisper's like, nope, been there, done that, not doing it again. Tolerating you, be thankful for that much. And Lanolin's like, all right, well, in that case, I'm just going to be the best support I can be. And they would just, I guess, continue to be a duo on the fringe.
Interesting. Well, that's some ideas there. Fanfic writers, go nuts. Here's one from Sylvia the Lynx. It's Marine's birthday, and whilst it would be easy for Blaze to buy something for the little raccoon, she wants to make something to show it's from the heart. So what does Blaze make for Marine? Please, Ian. Marine has been bullied far too much as it is.
I don't know if it's been established anywhere, but I don't think Blaze is particularly crafty in that regard. I mean, we know she can't cook. And maybe she's just not really good at making things. You know, when would she ever have to or need to? When she's a princess, everything would be brought to her if she needed it.
She's good at making fire.
Yeah, well, you can't just here, Marine, a match. Happy birthday.
Well, I'm just saying, like, yeah, she can't give that to Marine unless, I don't know, maybe it's like something flammable.
So I imagine she goes through a number of projects that all, crash and burn.
Mm-hmm.
And then she finally zeroes in on, what is the term? Wood burning? Or, you know, when you carve with a hot tool. What is that called?
Completely. It is wood burning. Okay.
Oh, it is. Okay. That seemed too direct. But so she tries some wood burning, and she does she tried to make a thing. Okay. You can tell there was intent.
Yeah.
She burned something into the wood intentionally. And she is extremely self-conscious about this, but she's run out of time and she's not going to show up empty-handed. So she shows up to Marine and says, happy birthday. I made this for you. And Marine is just all starry-eyed. You made something for me? Doesn't even matter what it is. It's just, She loved it. It is the greatest thing in the world. And she is so touched and she's very happy. And it's her best birthday ever.
Aw, yay. Marine finally gets something good for once. And our last question before we take a break is from Soccer Cot. I recently listened to the song Betty Davis Eyes by Kim Carnes. I want to think of a Sonic character when I hear that song. So my question is, what female Sonic character do you think has eyes most similar to those of Betty Davis?
This is oddly specific.
Betty Davis has very strong, very powerful eyes.
She does. They are quite piercing and emotive. I don't think anyone's eyes are like that, since everyone has these giant cartoon eyes.
Yeah, even Whisper's eyes aren't like that, sadly.
Yeah. If you want someone with that intensity and, you know, the ability to play the bad guy, so to speak, maybe Surge. You want to go that route?
Maybe we need Betty Davis the Hedgehog.
Maybe. In this regard, you could choose whoever you want, and I don't think I would be able to argue against you. So whatever suits you, go with that.
There you go. On that note, let's go ahead and take a quick break right here on the BumbleKast. We're back, and we got a question from Soulslayer7. While I'm sure Scourge probably already eliminated some of these characters during his conquest of Moebius, I'm curious to know what anti-versions of Shadow, Rouge, Cream, Silver, the Chaotix, the Hooligans, Babylon Rogues, maybe even Blaze, if possible, would look like. All right, pick and choose, Ian. We don't need all these.
Perhaps Soulslayer 7 is new, but we tried to keep it like a maximum of 5 for these types of questions, and even that's a bit much.
Yeah.
Might need to start asking for 3 because people kind of work around it.
Yeah, well, I think you need to pick and choose. Yeah, you just have to pick and choose which ones. What are you thinking? Plus, we've talked about a lot of these before. Yeah.
Like the Orderics were talked about, I believe, in the encyclopedia.
Yeah.
I know we've talked about Shadow and Silver at some point. I don't know if there would be an anti-Blaze, though, because Blaze is already a part of a different dimension. So it's not, an anti-version of Sonic's world. It's just a different version of that world, an incredibly different version of that world. So it's not like it's part of Sonic's world to be inversed.
Mm-hmm.
Unless we want to say that there's an entire anti-multiverse, and that's just a little silly.
Oh,
you
sure.
Can't be silly in these cartoon animal worlds.
No,
Come on now.
No, we can't have silliness. Silliness? Pfft, whatever.
Pshaw.
This is a serious franchise for serious people.
I feel like we did anti-cream at some point.
I think so. We did. Yes.
Yeah? Okay.
Yes. What about an anti-lanolin? We've not done that.
Was she on the list?
She's not, but you know what? I'm putting her on there.
Let's try to stick to the list as best we can.
Whatever.
We didn't do it. I don't think we've talked about an anti-rouge necessarily.
Oh, so a cop.
No, for this,
No?
I think
Okay.
keep her a thief, but she goes full Robin Hood.
Oh,
she robs
okay.
from the rich to give to the poor.
Okay.
She's still a thief, but it's for everybody else's sake.
Okay. She's an altruistic thief. Got it.
Yeah, like she won't retain any of it. She hates possessions, but she wants to help everybody else. So
Yeah.
and that way you can kind of keep her moral gray area anyway, where she'll work with the bad guys and the good guys as long as it benefits everyone else.
Yes.
The hooligans?
Yeah, we haven't talked about them, I don't think. The anti-hooligans?
They would be, along with the Babylon Rogues, they would be good people. Maybe they're part of a neighborhood watch. They do their best to help everybody out, those who need it.
Yes. What are they called? The Boy Scouts?
The good boys.
The good boys? Yeah. Bart can't shut up.
Exactly. Bean is absolutely dour.
Bean is a bomb diffuser.
No, God.
And I don't know, maybe Fang is like ex-military.
Well, Fang's still a hunter, trapper, bounty hunter type, but he is trying to incapacitate the suppression squad for the benefit of everyone else.
There you go.
Like if he can slow down Scourge for just a minute, that's a minute of peace for everyone else.
There you go.
And there you go. The Babylon Rogues are still thieves, but they're robbing the treasure hoards of the various despots and power players to return the artifacts to their original setting.
Okay.
And Jed is incredibly humble.
Okay, sure. I guess it is the opposite. So, do they walk around everywhere now, though, or are they still or they're still at extreme gear all the time?
Yeah. Keep the extreme gear. We can't go too crazy with this.
Okay.
I mean, Scourge is still fast. It's not like he's super slow.
Okay. Maybe they're all riding around on unicycles. Jet screaming, "It belongs in a museum!"
No, it doesn't. It belongs back with its people.
Okay, fine. Let's move on to a question from Sonic Sword Fighter. Ibris time. Iblis is just well, this is our life now, Ian.
Yeah.
Iblis is just a giant lava monster, but he can still rizz up other monsters / giant creatures in the Sonic universe. So how about he flirt with Dark Gaia, Perfect Chaos, Nega Mother Wisp, and the Bio Lizard? With Mephiles using his time travel, so this makes sense.
Oh yeah, perfect sense. Airtight. All right, so Perfect Chaos, I don't know, lava monster, water monster, it gets steamy.
Oh, spicy.
Dark Gaia, I don't know, planetary monster, it's very grounded. All right, it's got a solid foundation for a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Nega Mother Wisp, well, she has so many children, she's just so happy to have someone to help her out, to look after them all. And he's a very warm caregiver. And Bio Lizard, salamander pun, I don't know. There you go. Salamander is like a totem of fire. He's made of fire. They were made for each other. There you go.
Bio Lizard could do better. All right. Spoiler 1001 has a question. We know Sonic and Tails don't travel together all the time, but how long can Sonic and Tails go without talking to each other at all before Sonic gets worried?
I don't think worried is ever really an issue.
Tails might get worried.
Not necessarily for like Sonic's well-being, just what is he into now? Haven't heard from him in a while. Is Eggman up to something? Is Sonic busy saving the planet and I'm not there? That kind of worried. But
Yeah.
I think it's more of a loneliness, a fondness of, oh, I haven't seen my bro in a while. I need to go check in on them.
What's he up to? What you doing, Tails?
And Sonic shows up at the workshop and there's a note on the door saying, whoever's looking for me, I've gone off to find Sonic. And he's like, nerds.
Oh, irony. Do they not have phones?
Why would they have phones? That's too convenient.
I figured Tails has a phone at least. Sonic does.
There's only so many things that can hide behind their back at any point.
Fine. Whatever. This is why they need that sports tape, so they can have more things to slip things into. More places to slip things into. And here's one from Steph Cube. A while back, I got roasted on Twitter for saying that one of the reasons why Prime Sonic couldn't be the same Sonic from the games is because game Sonic would never hug Shadow or even hug Tails with the same enthusiasm Prime Sonic hugged 9 after defeating Chaos Sonic the first time. Because the Sonic from the games is not a cuddly person. He's pretty aloof and only sometimes responds hugs with a hand on the shoulder or back. However, many didn't believe me and even called me boring and a party pooper. Can you explain why there's nothing wrong with Sonic not being a touchy-feely guy?
Well, there's nothing wrong with it, but he can also be touchy-feely if he really wants to. And it's been a bit, but I want to say I remember in the context of Prime, he thought he had lost everybody, and boom, there's Tails back from what he thought was the dead. So, yeah, no, that hug makes perfect sense. And I'm willing to stretch it a little bit and say, yeah, he'd hug Shadow if he knew it would annoy him.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But beyond that, it's just generally how he is kind of cool and aloof. He does have that kind of air of he's standing back because he's just that cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't say he's opposed to physical contact. It's just not what we see from him typically.
Yeah. Sonic as a character is very much dependent on the writer, I would say. So it can go...
Writer and the moment.
Yeah, true. So it can go either way, really. Here's one from Superior Pizza. Back in April, I asked a question about Mama Mario actually being Maria. Shadow, knowing Maria got to live a life on Earth like she wanted, left him content and less edgy. But sadly, as you have stated, Maria passed, but a certain someone didn't. Good old Papa Mario. How would an interaction between the two go? Also, it's now my headcanon that in the Olympics AU, Maria is Mama Mario and Shadow is invited to the family cookouts.
Okay. Do we have anything on Papa Mario outside of the movie?
No. This is just Mario. It's Mario, not Papa Mario. Papa Mario is it's like if Maria got sent to the Mario universe and got together with Mario. That's what this scenario was, I believe. I believe you came up with that. This is based off a previous question.
I said that
I think
Maria
so.
hooked up with Mario?
Something like that. Or maybe maybe Superior Pizza said that. I can't remember. I know that there was a question about this, but either way, Mario.
I'm more inclined to think that I said something like Mario is like her grandkid or something, because
Maria was Peach all along because they're both blonde. I don't know.
I don't know. Folks, go back into the Q&A master list. Go back into the Bumble Vaults. If I actually, in response to somebody's question, legit pitched the idea of Mario and Maria getting together, let me know, because it's time to retire the show. I've lost my damn mind.
This is what happens when we have a show running on Rule of Funny.
That's not... No. I don't like that at all. No, I couldn't have said that. It had to have been like a progenitor thing.
Maybe, or maybe you were like just...
I tease on occasion. I wouldn't troll that maliciously. Good Lord.
Maybe we're tripping on balls at the time. You don't remember?
He says Papa Mario and Mama Mario specifically. That tells me it's parents, not like Vanilla Mario.
No, Vanilla Mario is a different... Oh, so that's Cream's father then.
No! These are none of the crossovers that I want.
Mario and Vanilla Mario.
Whoa.
Gotcha. Got him. Oh, well.
I'm going with the idea that it's actual Papa Mario, not Mario.
Okay.
And I guess I'm going to go off the movie because I don't know if there's ever been any other representation of him.
There hasn't, no.
And God, I only saw the movie once. What was he like in that?
Like Mario. Not a very supportive father, I guess.
Okay, then he doesn't really care to get in touch with that side of the family and doesn't invite Shadow to dinner, and Shadow's fine with that.
Yeah, but he's voiced by Charles Martinet, so at least there's that. And we got a question from Switchel. Isn't the whole Maria having an uncurable terminal illness thing kind of a massive plot hole? I mean, if she just carried some rings with her, anytime she would have died from it, she'd just lose some rings instead. Would have also saved her when Gunn raided the Ark. I mean, it's not like they're hard to find. Rings are everywhere on the Ark.
Well, clearly she didn't have any rings when that one gun shoulder found her.
Well, skill issue then, I guess.
Yeah. It's like playing chicken with the countdown from Supersonic. Oh, I have 50 rings. Oops, they ran out.
Oh, maybe the
time. Wop, 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 wop.
Yes.
She ran out. It continues, so it's too bad. So sad.
Time over. The timer ran out. We got this one from the Cyberspace Coco. Konami and a comic publisher, let's say IDW, approach you and ask you to write a comic based on Metal Gear Solid, and they also give you the freedom to do whatever you want. What characters would you want to tell stories about? What points in the timeline would you want to visit? How confident are you in tackling the political commentary and general Metal Gear convoluted wackiness? And how sick would it be if your writing was accompanied by some Yoji Shinkawa-inspired art?
Oh, well, come on. That'd be amazing.
That would look outstanding, yeah.
And as a matter of fact, I'm not going to go into too many specifics because I don't want to rankle anybody anywhere, but I was briefly on board with a project that was going to be a Metal Gear series tie-in comic.
Ooh.
And the premise was we were going to do in-between stories. And the first one I pitched was covering the time between Metal Gear 5 and the original Metal Gear.
It is the original Metal Gear, isn't it?
Yeah, Metal Gear. I was like, what was the title? Solid is the series after that. So yeah, the original Metal Gear.
Yeah.
And basically tell the story of how Venom Snake embraced the big boss idea and founded Zanzibar Land and, pushed that agenda for the greater ideals of Big Boss, and had this whole thing with Paz being there and playing with that, and introducing the Metal Gear bosses in a similar vein of how some of the others were recruited. And from there, I really wanted to do stuff like the original boss's story, how she got her team and all that, and how she first met the End. No, not the End.
A different franchise.
The Fear. No, which one is it?
The Sorrow?
The Sorrow. There we go. How she met the Sorrow, and follow Ocelot and some of his crazy stuff behind the scenes, explore the fringe continuity and make little connections here and there, and try to adhere to that as closely as I could, whatever was in interviews and whatever was in, fringe lore stuff, because I am not the most politically savvy, I will admit. So I would want to focus more on the lore itself and the characters and the story as is established and flesh out from there than try to make some kind of political prediction or commentary myself. Unfortunately, the project died on the vine very early, but there will always be that lingering desire to do that. So if it ever comes back my way, I know what I want to do, but sadly it was not to be.
Not this time, but maybe there will be a next time. We got a question from that guy who does stuff. I've seen rumors going around online, and I thought I'd ask you directly. Not sure how much you can say, but are you rewriting the Sonic portion of Sonic and Shadow Generations as well as the Shadow portion?
Well, this is already confirmed online. Yeah, the story is getting gently reworked a little bit, and I am the writer for that.
Interesting.
Don't expect titanic shifts here. It is a massaging of the narrative. We had to work within some certain constraints, but it personally, I feel like it's a little more satisfying, a little more cohesive, but you play through it yourselves and see what you think.
Ooh, fascinating. And Twilord has a question. How does throwing someone that floats mystically through its own willpower work? Like Doom's Eye or Yacker. Are they really light? Or is your strength stat going against their will stat? Or is your will stat going against theirs? Or your strength stat against theirs? Help!
I think it's just a matter of the amount of energy being employed. Like, the amount of force you are applying upon the object overrules whatever force they use to normally fly.
Yeah, makes sense to me.
And in Doom's Eye's case, if Shadow is kicking him with enough force to throw that giant squid thing across the room, I don't think he's going to be aware enough to try to course correct. Plus, he's getting hit in the eye. That's really distracting. And all he has really is an eye. So
Yeah. And it hurts, man. Come on. And poked in the eye? Man, that sucks. Last question is from Vineclad. Nintendo has decided to destroy their competition through litigation. They filed a lawsuit against Sega for patent infringement, saying that Sonic's gold rings infringe on Mario's gold coins. Tell us, Mr. Flynn, attorney at law, why does Nintendo have no standing?
Application of the asset is not synonymous. The Mario coin is collected purely for points. The ring is a quintessential part of the health and survivability and continuation of gameplay.
There you go.
Also, they shape different.
Also, they make different sound. All right. That's going to do it for this edition of the BumbleKast.
Thank you so much to everyone who supports the show over at patreon.com/BumbleKast, Ko-fi.com/BumbleKast, and our YouTube members. Be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and we will see you next time on the BumbleKast.
You've been listening to the BumbleKast, a co-production of Bumble King Comics and the KNGI Network. Original theme music composed by Ken Coda Snyder. Remixed intro by T-Lopes. Find out more information, along with podcast feeder links, MP3 downloads, and more at bumbleking.com and kngi.org. Rings have a hole. Coins do not. Well, I mean, depends.
The Mario coins do not.
The Mario coins do not. Well, yes. Some coins have holes, but not Mario coins.
I mean, if anything, Sega could come around and go after Nintendo.
Yeah.
Because in Mario 64, the coins started replenishing health. And that's a Sonic thing.
Yep. Mm-hmm. 100 coins equals 1 life. 100 rings equals 1 life, though. Then Nintendo could counter with that, you know?
Well...
Until they got rid of the lives in Odyssey, right?
Yeah, but they also stole the spin dash there, so...
Yeah, but then Sonic went and stole the Mario open world style gameplay for Frontier.
Oh, please. Open world, nah. That was a spin dash and everyone knew it.
Yeah.
Got the speed, kid. Wahoo! Jelly and jam time.
It's true. It's true.
I'm up, over, and gone. Wahoo!
Oh, so Mario's back.
So long, Robotnik.